This video will look at how to create a new contract in the system. So firstly we go to Merchant and then eMetrics, and then from the contract drop down we click on Contract List. On the right hand side we then click the Create link. So firstly we give the contract a name. We can optionally add a description about the contract. We can set a priority. We can set a promotion code. So one of the next steps once creating this contract, we will add access rules in there, but as an alternative to access rules you can add a promotion code which would give anyone who has that code access to this contract. We can then mark the contract as either active or inactive by using this checkbox. So the next checkbox, is product access active, determines whether the customer has access to view the products on this contract throughout the shop. So typically access structures are what give customers access to the products. However, by adding products to a contract and making that contract available to the customer, you do have the option to then give them access to those products as an override. The is hidden checkbox allows us to hide a contract from a customer. So by ticking this, the customer wouldn't see the contract on the front end. They would still have access to the pricing from the contract, they just wouldn't see the contract itself. We can then select one or more sales reps to be applicable to the contract, and they will receive certain notifications throughout the contract's workflow lifecycle. We can select a different currency if applicable, and then we can set a date range that the contract is applicable for. Once we're happy with those details, we then click Save to create the contract. So now that the contract has been created, you'll see that there's a warning at the top of the page just advising us that no products are currently assigned to the contract. So the next step is to add the products to the contract. So this can be done in one of two ways. We can click the Upload button, and from here we can upload a CSV file using the following column names, and this will allow you to do a bulk upload from a spreadsheet or a CSV. Alternatively, we can add a new product one at a time by clicking the Add Product button. From here we then select a product, and then we have two options for the supplier sell price. We can either use the default market price that's in the system, and we can see that value here, or we can override it with our own fixed price. So we then enter a customer buy price, which can either be a fixed price or a percentage margin. We can then optionally add a subheading name, and this just allows us to group certain products together on the contract underneath a label. And lastly, we can add a suggested quantity for the customer. So that product has now been added to the contract. So there's now a new warning at the top of the page advising us that we haven't assigned any customer rules or given a promotion code to the contract. So given we didn't enter a promotion code at the start, we'll now look at how to add the access rules. So down the page here we can see a list of any existing access rules, and to add a new one we click New Rule on the right hand side. So from here we can either default the contract to show all customers the contract, or alternatively we can limit the list. So we can do that by either allowing or denying a specific user role, a specific company, all the way down to a specific customer. So we can see the new rule has been added there, which says all administrators have access to this contract. And so we can add as many of those rules as necessary. We can then also add any documents into the document management system for this contract. And the last piece of information we see at the bottom of the page here is the contract workflow. So we can see the date that it was created, it's currently being initialized, and if there's been any other changes throughout the workflow, we'll see those here in the journal. And so now that we've added some product and access rules to the contract, this contract is ready to be used, and will be accessible for all customers based on the user roles.